Hey guys, welcome to part 3 of my KOI dessert bar food tour. Okay, so for those who don't know, the flagship venue for KOI opened up in July 2022 at 6 Central Park Avenue in Chippendale. The venue is divided into 3 individual spaces, starting with their crown jewel, the OG KOI dessert bar that serves up these supremely photogenic desserts and is also part of what made KOI famous in the first place. This is then followed by Monkey's Corner, an izakaya-style restaurant that serves up interesting Asian fusion dishes. I've already done food tours of both of these sections and I've linked them in the description box, but in this here part 3, we are going to be visiting Reynold Poernomo's playground, KOI Experiential, a 12-seater degustation like no other. I will also be sharing some tips and observations from my experience so that you can make the most of your experience if you do decide to visit. Lastly, I will walk you through everything I ate at KOI Experiential and share my thoughts on it so that you can decide for yourself if KOI Experiential is worth visiting. But before we get into it, hi, I'm Steve from the Fat Life Project. I like to eat and I like to show you what and where to eat. So if that sounds like something that you'd be into, I highly recommend subscribing so that we can go on more fat food adventures together. With that out of the way, let's jump straight into it. KOI Experiential is Reynold's first foray into degustation style dining, essentially marrying his love for the sweet and savory. He has perfectly summarized what this space is all about on the KOI website. Experiential's DNA is about creativity and new ideas, constantly changing, learning and exploring outside of our comfort zones. More than just desserts, more than just a meal, it is my home for experimentation. It is my gastronomic playground. Reynold Poernomo. It is for this reason that you will never experience the same menu twice at KOI Experiential. The 11-course menu will set you back $185 sans wine pairing, and also as there's only 12 seats, bookings for KOI Experiential tend to go fast. I have included their completely unaffiliated booking link in my description box. It is my 4th time at the KOI flagship venue, and these are just some of my tips and observations of the experience overall which you may find useful. First off, the service every single time is tip-top. Honestly, even if you're 50-50 or maybe even don't end up liking the food, the service is always an 11 out of 10. Second, as with most tasting menus, changes cannot be made and no substitutions are allowed. The first thing you'll notice once you sit down as well is that Reynold is not at the bar serving you. Fear not though, as his staff at the counter are definitely well positioned to ensure that you have a great experience. How do I know this? I saw one of them throw away a piece of ice cream because it wasn't plated properly and the ice cream had already touched other elements on the plate and thus could not be reused. I can only assume that there are some set guidelines that they have to abide by so that the plating of each dish is identical. You can also add on wine pairing for an additional $75, or you can choose from wines, sakes, and even cocktails from the Monkey's Corners menu. If you're getting a cocktail, I highly recommend the gorgeous geisha. My reservation was for 6:30 p.m. and they do start on time. However, if you're running late or waiting on a dining partner, they can hold off serving until you or your dining guests arrive. Once you're seated, you will see a small folded menu on your table showing you what you will be eating for the night, along with a little welcome message from Reynold himself. We started with Nostalgia, which comprises of kingfish, apple, vinaigrette, and myrtle. The vinaigrette sauce that had been infused with the kingfish and apple flavors was especially delicious. This was then followed by a pillow-shaped pastry filled with a mochi and chestnut filling, topped off with some hamon. And I think so far we're getting a really good sense of what KOI Experiential is trying to achieve here, which are aesthetically delicious savory dishes to match the high standard set forth by their already famous desserts. Aesthetic like this next dish, which looked like autumn in a cup. It is a pumpkin, porcini, and potato mousse topped off with a leaf-shaped bonito. You can really taste the pumpkin in the creamy mousse, and having it with the bonito toppings was just perfect. As the mousse was quite creamy, I really appreciated having this next dish, which comprised of a flower-shaped kohlrabi that is flavored by a sauce made from toro, white sauce, and roasted kombu. It was a great palate cleanser for our next dish, of which I was immediately intrigued by based on the presentation of the dish, as it was obscured by some thin black kombu wafers. Once you uncover the wafers though, you will find the main dish, which is a concoction of yolk, caviar, and garlic, which you're supposed to put on the kombu wafers to consume. The umami flavors of the kombu and caviar combined with garlic was just chef's kiss. Honestly, this was my favorite dish of the night. Followed very closely by this bowl of chawanmushi. I mean, it's pretty hard to not like a good chawanmushi, especially when it's served with a huge piece of scallop on the top, but also can we just take a moment to appreciate how beautifully presented this dish is? Presentation aside, the egg was also perfectly cooked. Speaking of presentation, can you guess what this next dish is? You may think it's an ice cream or sorbet of some sort, which is what I assumed, but it was actually foie gras wrapped in a cone. Definitely high points for presentation. It's winter in Sydney, so I definitely appreciated this next dish. It is an A5 Wagyu and smoked onion soup topped off with some herbs. I could definitely taste the Wagyu and the whole thing was just so comforting to drink. Which was why I was hoping for them to continue in the comfort food theme, but instead we've got some waffles served with some apple compote and cream fraiche. The waffles were quite cheesy and airy though, making it super easy to eat. It was finally time for dessert, and look at how pretty this dish is. It almost reminds me of that snitch dessert that Reynold is so famous for. It is also delicious to eat, and I think also another highlight of the night for me. But I had to take a quick look at this next dessert because for a quick second I thought I was being served a pile of dirt. It was actually a chocolate mousse topped off with some matcha moss and a lemon sorbet. The dish was also the teensiest bit spicy, though I can't quite tell from which element. I want to start this section by saying that it is my second visit at KOI Experiential, so obviously I loved enough about it to make a return booking, especially at that price point. But my second experience at KOI Experiential was similar in that I didn't enjoy every single dish. However, there were enough highlights for me, such as the chawanmushi, the enigma, clarity, and lucid dishes that altogether form a strong enough case for me to make a return booking when a new menu does launch. But did you know that this is part 3 of my KOI dessert bar tour? I've previously covered the must-try desserts at their OG KOI dessert shop, as well as their bestsellers at their izakaya-style restaurant Monkey's Corner in part 2. I've included both of those videos at the end so that you can go ahead and watch those next. But also, if you enjoyed this little food tour, I would really appreciate a like and subscribe. It is absolutely free to do, but it really helps my tiny little channel out. I also upload every Saturday, so be sure to turn on that bell notification so that you can start your weekend with me. If you want to see more Sydney-based content, feel free to check out my Sydney playlist, which I've also included in the description box. And if you got to this point of the video, I want to thank you so much for your support. It means the world to me. I hope that you have a fantastic day ahead or that you've already had a good day. As always, I will see you soon in the next video.